Hi everyone, this is Darren from Simnation. This is the new installment of Zero to Hero for Draft Day Sports College Football 2025. For those of you not familiar with the concept, when I first started this series, probably about a year ago, maybe longer, it originally was I was taking a team at the beginning of the season, week one, having a full season of recruiting, and then trying in the second season to turn them into a playoff team. Uh, Probably more successful than I wasn't with that concept. So once it started to become a little bit easier for me, I decided I would take the team at the turn or the season flip, which meant that I only had time to hire staff, spring game, and then about 4 weeks of recruiting, training camp, and then I'm into the season. And the goal is to make the playoffs. I've only successfully completed this twice. The last 2 seasons, I have not. So this season, I took the Buffalo Bulls, who are the worst prestige team in SNCFL. SNCFL, of course, is Simnation's Football Bowl Series, Draft Day Sports College Football 2025 League. So as you can see, I have them up in front of me. Um, General concept was zero to hero teams, and I didn't show how I recruited. I'll try to do that next season. I'm going to try to do one of these videos every week. But the general concept is because I'm entering the recruiting cycle uh, in the off season, where there's not as much talent, I'm either going to lean heavily on transfers or I'm going to try to find people that everyone else overlooks. So you see a lot of one stars. I'm also looking for the best athletes in many cases, minus certain positions like quarterback, where there has to be a skill base still. In some of the other ones, like, of course, offensive linemen, I can't go out and just find who's the best athlete. I've got to get people who actually know how to block. So you see a lot of one stars. You see a lot of people who change positions. So the goal that I did with the recruiting this time was I recruited heavily running back and wide receivers because generally those two positions best map to me being able to move them to a different position and have them be successful. Uh, I have recruited some quarterbacks who were fast with the auspice of if they didn't have an arm, I would just move them to cornerback or move them to a different position. So you see a lot of position changes. I will tell you, Buffalo is. I'm going to benefit a little bit from the fact that Skeltor had Buffalo like a few seasons ago, and now I've cut most of Skeltor's players because him and I have a different philosophy on things. Um, Most of the ones I kept were defenders, where him and I probably share a philosophy around defense. But this team will be radically different than the team that started. I think I cut close to 45 to 50 players, and then I had to go out and recruit 45 to 50 players. So me recruiting this season is going to be a little bit tough, only because of the fact that I haven't been very loyal to my players, so I don't expect recruits to be loyal to me. So if they value loyalty, I'm probably screwed. Staff-wise, I didn't make a huge amount of changes here, mostly because I just didn't have the money to do it. So what you'll see is Stephen Ingle is my head coach. This will be his first season. I think he's actually a CPU assigned coach. He came from the staff. He run a run first vertical offense is what I want because I'm gonna be doing a lot of running this year. Um, Gerald Allen again is another person first year. Unlike Steven, he's not a staff pick, but again, a run first power offense. I want a lot of run in this team because I'm going to run the ball, but I'm going to run it slightly different than the way Skelter runs it. By the way, Skelter, along with Matt, arguably is the best rushing offensive mind in the league. I've deleted his playbooks. I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use my own. Um, Nicholas Stevens, again, is another person I kept him on. Skelter did a good job hiring him. I don't see a reason to get rid of him because he can coach defense, and generally he fits the model of what I want in a coach with defenses. I like the 4-3. Uh, I tend to run a more hybrid approach, but those are my coaches, and I've kind of made sure my coaches reflect the philosophy that I'm gonna have for this team. Now, a lot of work went into the depth chart. This is going to be a run first vertical offense. So what that means is a lot of shotgun, a lot of spread, a lot of empty backfields. I'm not going to be able to throw the ball long, so I'm going to probably focus more on medium. Um, and I will probably focus a little bit more on short to medium routes, just because, as you can see, the people who are my best running quarterbacks are not my best throwing quarterbacks from terms of arm or accuracy, but they're decent. Just for transparency, right? My people are not skilled, so this will manifest with probably some wild behavior throughout the season. I'm prepared for that, and it's not going to really probably phase me a little bit. Personal opinion, I have my own opinion about how skill works. I know some people don't agree with me, but I think generally the way that the skill works nowadays is uh, it's not optimal to have people who have a low skill rating under 30 or 40, but I would tell you if someone has a 90 in a stat that's key, it's going to be better than someone who doesn't. Generally, you want players to be over 50 in skill because they'll play their position decently. Players in the 80 to 100 are going to play better than someone who plays in the 50s. They'll more fully maximize the actual rating that they have than like a player who has a 30. They're probably going to less. They're going to play a little bit below average, whereas a person who has an 80 to 100 is going to play above average. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Brooks and them did this because they're trying to nerf people like me who come in and say, hey, look, I'm going to go recruit a running back and play him at cornerback. Now, I've had a lot of success with that. I'm not worried about that, but I'm going to accept the penalties that's going to come with it, and I'm going to accept for things like missed tackles, playing out of position, those type of things that come with having a low skill. I did make sure that I did position changes before training camp so that way I could increase the skill. And people who had low skill, I really focused on the skill based ratings to try to drive their skill up so that they would play better. Back to the offense. So Grant Berman is going to be my starting quarterback. Both of my starting and backup quarterback are freshmen. I recruited both of these specific. I probably should play Schumann as the starting quarterback, candidly, but I like Berman better because he has a higher skill, better endurance, which means he's going to hold up a little bit better when he gets hit. And he has better hands. I am going to run the quarterback quite a bit this season, but I also want to be able to throw the ball. The other thing is he has a higher intelligence, which to me is a very important rating for a quarterback. Now, if I was running the ball inside a lot with quarterback draws, I forget what the other one is, but if I was going up the middle a lot, Schumann would probably be the quarterback I would choose. Uh, but Berman will be the starter, Schumann will be the backup, and then I have to hope that Lamb never sees the field. Because if he does, I'm going to be changing the whole offense and switching probably to either doing Cahill or Palma and running a more traditional vertical offense. It'll be Palma because he's got a higher intelligence and higher skill. So if those two get hurt, I know the offense I'm moving to. Running back wise, I do have some good options at running back, even after I moved a lot of people to different positions who had speed over 90. I like Darby. Darby to me has good strength. I'm a person who values intelligence at running back. It makes me a little bit weird, but the other reason why I chose Darby is he has decent skill. He has good endurance. His hands are decent with his speed. The things I worry about is his agility. Um, by the end of the season, I won't be shocked if I'm probably either using Austin or Willis more at running back for what I'm trying to do. By the way, I am running two packages. Default package is my pass package. Run package is my um, running package. I'm not doing anything weird like for shotguns, wildcats, and stuff like that. I think if I would try to do that, it would just take it. It would take away from what I'm really going to try to do this season. Fullback, I want a good blocker in most of the time when I don't have someone in. I want them to be able to catch. The reality of it is, I'm probably not going to have the fullback's not going to see a lot of playing time because I am going to be using a lot of shotgun, a lot of spread. There aren't fullbacks or single backs, and you won't see a lot of fullback opportunity within those formations. Tight end wise, I don't have much to choose from here, candidly. I like the tight end position. I use the tight end a lot. A lot of times you're going to see McQueen start over others. Yes, he has a low skill. I'm going to deal with the penalties that come with that. But he's one of the better blockers I have because the other guy, Leon, is actually more of a pass catching tight end than the other ones are. Um, so the reality is I probably should be playing Beasley at the top position, but I just generally I like the speed around McQueen, and especially on passing downs, it's going to be important. My offensive line is in shambles. It's not a great one, but it's not a horrible one. At tackle, I actually have some pretty good ability. Now, again, I want to be able to run and pass, so that's the reason why you're seeing me prioritize pass blocking over run blocking and then prioritizing skill over lack of skill, as well as I'm not a big strength guy. Just for transparency, you can keep that holy war to yourself. Uh, my belief is I've always been more of a technique blocker, where I kill more about the ability to block and then the other attributes that go into it than strength. If I was running a power base offense, I would kill more about strength. Um, you can also see at guard. Again, I have good capabilities here, but the people that you're seeing starting are roughly the people who can both pass and run block. Montgomery's probably my best blocker in general, but I'm pretty high on Hawkins as well as Babb. Um, and I think both of those will help me. Thankfully, I'm not running up the middle because the options I have at center are just not that good. So I do expect a lot of sacks up the middle, by the way. Wide receiver, again, I'm playing a medium set offense, or short to medium, so agility is going to come into play a little bit more than other things, but I do want to spread the field and I want to keep defenses from just keying on my option offense. So I will throw the ball, but as you can see, I don't have great options at wide receiver, but they're decent. I mean, Fox is a pretty good wide receiver, so is Johnson. Johnson is someone who I think that I can get involved in the short passing game and be very successful. I may bring in Balado at some point. I'm probably really bad at mispronouncing his name, but he's a fictitious character, so who cares? And then Blake. Um, when I switched my run package, you'll see me switch up the wide receivers to where I'm focusing more on run blocking capabilities and on strength, because they're just going to have to hold people up because I am going to run outside more than I'm going to run inside. Uh, this isn't going to be a power offense. Defensively, again, I need to be able to protect against the run. I have some pretty decent options. Skelter left me some good options here. So you'll see that my defensive line is pretty good. Again, I'm going to prioritize strength for running downs, and I'm going to prioritize speed for passing downs. But I'm also not going to switch out my defensive tackles very often. I'll switch out my defensive end and linebackers. Again, nothing great here. Kunkel is a pretty decent defensive end. He doesn't have top end strength though, so you'll probably not see him as often on the power side, the left side. That's one of the reasons why Ruff is there. He's got decent strength and he has decent speed. And again, he's got really good skill. These guys are going to play above average, whereas these guys are going to play more around average. Um, and again, that's my opinion. I know some of you will get mad at me for that, but that's just my opinion. And by the way, my opinion's based on me doing a lot of sandboxing and observing things. So, um, linebacker, I have to be able to guard against both the pass and the run. So the way I generally play linebackers, my two outside linebackers are rushers and pass protector, so I value hands and speed, uh, maybe less tackling. Um, Inside linebackers, I tend to value as the person who's going to be more of a run stopper, so I value tackling a little bit more in agility, though. Skill comes into play, but you will notice I'm going to have the same skill issue because I had to move people around because didn't really have a good offseason with recruiting linebackers, and it kind of shows here. Um, in the backfield, lots of changes here, right? I moved a lot of people from running back and wide receiver. You can kind of see some of that. Like you can see that Vickers was either a running back or a wide receiver. Same thing with Mason. But I think Mason was moved by Skelter, not by me. So my higher end people are largely, I did have one cornerback I think that I had really good, I managed to nab, but if I make it to the playoffs and I go against the Georgias, the UCLAs of the world, the Marylands, they're just going to slay me because I don't have speed. But in the MAC, I should be fine. Um, and then the safeties again, I have box safeties as well as like speed will be my box safety. I don't know why the CPU is so high on speed. He lacks speed. There's a certain funniness there, but I have two good strong safeties from a coverage perspective. Free safety, same thing. I have two good coverage safeties. Uh, Stanley probably should start, but he's not. I like Taylor a little bit more. Uh, Now, strategy wise, I'm gonna run a spread option, and I'll show you what that means in a moment. D total is just a defense I've built. I'll explain that in a second. I've talked a lot about this in different videos. With Maryland, if I were to show you Maryland, you'd see a lot of nuns here. I don't want, I want the offensive coordinator playing the playbook I give them. I don't want them selecting specific plays. And we'll talk a little bit more about that with the playbook is when you select certain things here like outside balanced, it translates to something in the playbook. So you need to make sure your playbook maps back to your strategy. If it doesn't, choose none. Um, Fox is going to be my primary. Austin McNamara is just a good goal line back. But as you can see, I'm not setting many things hill for passing target. I probably should go none hill, but I want it to run more balanced just because I don't want them picking some of the longer pass plays I may have in the book, and I don't think I have many. I do intend the quarterback to run often, so I've set that. On this side, I just want to be aggressive, but I'm not going to set a focus. Because again, I want them to use the playbook I've given and call the whole playbook, just not a subset of it. I probably need to change this to 42. I'll fix that. Generally, I know a lot of people have asked me about this. I generally run 70 to 85 on this. I know different people have different things. Because I'm playing the CPU, I'm going to let my coordinators handle the prep. It's also the first game of season, so I don't really even know what the other team's going to do. So um, I don't have any background data. I mean, I could go back to past seasons and look, but I don't feel like doing that. Formations, you can see I just have two. For running downs, I have my run package. For passing downs, I have my pass package. Short, I go with a run D. Medium, I go with a long D, which is a pass defense. My playbooks, you can see, are very light. I've removed all of Skelter, so you won't see those. But the spread option, you'll notice a lot of some of this is based off the spring game, and I didn't have good quarterbacks during the spring game, so I don't know what to expect. I got to get rid of the jet sweeps. I keep forgetting those are in though. But speed left, sprint right, speed rights, you can see I'm going to run the quarterback quite a bit. Let's get rid of that now. So you'll see counter right, dive right. So what I'm trying to do in the first game, because I'm not against a great opponent in Texas State, is start to figure out what plays work and what plays don't. The only reference point I have is the spring game with the playbook I ran, and it didn't give me a lot of information about what will work and what won't. But as you can see, there'll be very little fullbacks, right? Because I'm running, in fact, there may be none. My fullback likely will never see the field. because of the shotgun in the four wide receivers, the spread. But this is a vertical offense. This is what I want. What I would do as each week progresses, I'm going to see what's working, what's not. If it's a short pass play, I want it to be above 3 to 4 yards per attempt. If it's a medium, I want it above 6. If it's a long, I want it above 8 to 10. For running plays, I generally want those above 3. Anything less than that, I'm going to start trimming this playbook. By the end of the season, this playbook will be around 20 pass plays and 20 run plays. So this is what I'm going to go in with. A lot of this is predicated, again, I want to run to the outside or I want to run between the guard and the tackle. So I've had a lot of success with counter options. It's one of my favorite plays, as well as the sweep option. I don't think the speeds are going to work because, again, I haven't had much success with those. And you'll notice a lot of the plays I'm calling are either medium or balanced. And that's intentional because I think that those are the plays that, one, I have the right wide receivers for, and two, I have quarterbacks who can complete those passes. Um, just general reminder, accuracy equates more to short passing, and then arm equates more to long passing. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Uh, from a D total, this one is based on my experience. So before you ask, I did mirror some of the plays that I saw the coaches like. I'm a big fan of the dime. Just keep that in the back of your mind, as well as the nickel. That's my main passing. Right now, I have one playbook. By third week, I should have 3 playbooks. I'll have one for balanced, where maybe the person's not calling either run or pass. They're kind of balancing. One for pass and then one for run. My pass will focus more on shutting down the pass, my run shutting down the run, and then balance is just to shut down both of them. But D total will turn into 3 different playbooks by the third or fourth week. And again, a lot of this is based on just my personal preference. Is I do like running multiples. 5-2 is great against the run. 4-3 is really good against the run and some passing. The 3-4 plays are more meant to help me with circumstances where I may go against a team that likes the option. So that's kind of it. I really don't want to show my recruiting because I've had some issues in the past where people saw who I was recruiting and then went after them. I do intend, unlike past Zero to Hero seasons, to keep Buffalo for more than a season because I'm going to try to see how far I can take them. By the way, I'm not a Buffalo fan. Um, so, but I do think that I want to see what I can do with them. So Zero to Hero may change after the season to seeing, can I get Buffalo up to like 60 in prestige? Um, but again, I also think that this may be the last season I have Appalachian State. I may drop them and then pick up another Zero to Hero team. But that's kind of it. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Season starts tomorrow. I'll have a preview video up, but I do think I'm gonna beat Texas State, who I'm playing. Normally, I would go to schedule. I would look at the matchup, but the matchup's not going to tell me anything. There's nothing really. Historically, Texas State is 2-0 against Buffalo. Of course, I don't think they've ever played me. It is going to rain, so the running game is probably going to be a better play for me, anyways. But we'll see how this plays out. Thank you for your time, and if you're interested in SNCFL, let me know. We have a Discord. Just hit me up there, and I'll add you. Or if you have questions around how I built the offense, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a week or two. Uh, Only because I want to get some games under me to see if it's working, to see if my thought process was right. But a lot of it was predicated on I have fast quarterbacks who have decent hands. I have good running backs who are fast. So I want to try to get them to the outside. I don't have running backs who have strength. So running them inside is just not a good idea. I also don't have the offensive line for it. So thank you for your time. Have a great night.